All right, let's just dive right into this explainer. We're going to build your practical toolkit for talking about the world's absolutely biggest sporting event in natural, confident English. And hey, even if you aren't a soccer expert, don't worry, you're in the right place. Whether you're standing around the office cooler, hanging out at a cafe, or just chatting with friends online, the World Cup is one of those rare, truly global topics. Our goal today is to give you the vocabulary, the sentence patterns, and the confidence to jump right into the conversation without missing a beat. So, here's our conversational playbook for today. We'll be hitting 5 quick steps. First, the global conversation starter. Next, talking teams and players. Then, match day conversations, followed by fan emotions and atmosphere. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with your English conversation playbook to help totally eliminate that small talk anxiety. All right, moving right into part 1, the global conversation starter. We're starting here because, honestly, the World Cup breaks down global barriers like nothing else. And you really don't need to be some sort of tactical genius to join in on the fun. It just brings people together. Friends, families, and even total strangers suddenly have this amazing shared thing to connect over. So let's look at the foundational facts you'll need to know. Just to ground ourselves in the basics for a second, remember that this specific tournament is uniquely spread across 3 host countries: Canada, Mexico, and the United States. Now, in sports, hosts are literally just the countries organizing the whole shebang and providing the stadiums. Practically speaking, though, this means a massive scale, tons of travel across different cities, and, yeah, some pretty tricky time zones to navigate. You'll definitely want to double-check the local time before our match starts, because a game could absolutely be kicking off right while you're brushing your teeth for bed. And to put that sheer scale into perspective, this is actually the very first men's tournament ever to feature 48 teams. That is a lot of football. It means way more matches, a ton of participating countries, extra drama, and, lucky for us, way more chances to chat. So if someone asks you what you think about the upcoming tournament, a super natural response is simply saying something like, I think it's exciting because it includes way more teams and so many different host cities. Now, this simple question right here, this is your ultimate icebreaker. Which team are you supporting? You are going to hear this constantly leading up to and especially during the tournament. And listen, it is perfectly fine to be honest and say you don't actually have a specific team. You can totally just say, hey, I'm just cheering for good matches, or I just really want to see some drama, goals, and excitement. Okay, let's shift gears to part 2, talking teams and players. We're going to build up your vocabulary for describing teams and those standout stars, just to help you express some simple opinions. Football basically just breaks down into 2 main conversational halves: attack and defense. You really do not need to understand all those complex, crazy formations. You can sound completely natural just by saying you love a team's fast attack, but maybe you're a little worried about their defense. Attack is just the exciting part where teams are trying to create chances and score goals, right? And defense is all about stopping those goals from happening. If you just casually drop a line like, man, their attack looks dangerous today, I promise you'll sound exactly like a seasoned fan. Now, if you really want to impress your friends, tell them who your dark horse is. Football is completely obsessed with unpredictability. That awesome feeling when a tiny, unknown team just shows up and surprises everyone. If you've got a gut feeling a lesser-known team might actually go really far in the tournament, you call them a dark horse. Or, hey, if you want to keep your English even simpler, it's totally fine to just say, I think this team could surprise everyone. When we're talking about individual players, it's just really great to have a few solid descriptive words in your back pocket. When you're explaining why you like a specific player, calling them reliable or quick or maybe calm under pressure paints this absolutely perfect picture for whoever's listening. A reliable player is just that guy who consistently makes smart decisions and plays well game after game after game. All right, moving right along to part 3, matchday conversations. Knowing exactly what to say before, during, and after that final whistle blows is absolutely crucial for keeping the chat going. So the whole trick here is just memorizing a few of these key phrases for each stage of the match. It completely allows you to react to the action right alongside your friends without missing a beat. Like, before the game, you could casually predict a tough match. During the game, reacting to a missed shot with a quick, wow, that was close, sounds incredibly natural. And then after the final whistle, observing that a team wasted too many chances, which just means they had a bunch of shots but couldn't actually score, shows you were genuinely paying attention to the game. Now, during the match, if a team is really struggling out there, observing that their defense looks shaky, is such an incredibly natural, authentic fan expression. Like if the other team is attacking super fast and the defenders are clearly making mistakes and just looking really nervous, shaky is literally the exact right word to use to sound like a native English speaker in that moment. And hey, if those crazy time zone differences we talked about earlier cause you to oversleep and accidentally tune in during the second half or even miss the game entirely, do not stress about it. You can simply tell your friends you lost sleep staying up to watch the highlights instead. Highlights are just those short recap videos showing all the most important moments. Saying, yeah, I didn't watch full match, but I caught the highlights is something diehard football fans say to each other all the time. Let's jump into part 4, fan emotions and atmosphere. Look, football is basically nothing without the passion. So let's quickly explore how to express all those roller coaster feelings and the wild energy of the crowd. Even if you literally spent 2 hours at a cafe arguing with your buddies about which stadium has the best energy, you can just sum the whole thing up by describing an amazing, electric atmosphere. For so many fans, the atmosphere, the bright colors, the super loud singing, the sheer emotion in the stadium, or even just hanging out at a packed local sports bar, is hands down the absolute best part of the whole World Cup experience. It is so vital to remember that whether you've got family members literally screaming complex tactical advice at the TV screen, or you're just quietly asking who the players are, both types of fans totally belong in this conversation. You might be a big fan who closely watches every single match you possibly can, or you might be a casual fan who only ever tunes in for these massive, major global tournaments. Honestly, both are perfectly valid, awesome ways to enjoy the event. And as you'd guess, emotions run really, really high in these tournaments. When a match is perfectly tied super late in the game, or heaven forbid it goes to a penalty shootout where every single kick matters, the absolute best word to describe that hold your breath, heart-pounding feeling is tense. If you just turn to someone and say, wow, those last 10 minutes were incredibly tense, your fellow fans will know exactly what you mean, for sure. All right, we've made it to part 5, your English conversation playbook. We've reached the final stretch. This is where we take all this great vocabulary and turn it into a concrete, totally stress-free plan for you to actually use out in the real world. So, here is your simple, foolproof 3-step game plan. Please, don't try to learn everything about the sport. That is way too overwhelming. Just pick maybe 10 to 15 core words. Words like host, tournament, defense, referee, and tense. Take those, plug them into some really simple opinions, and just focus on being able to discuss one single team, one specific player, and one match. Seriously, use repetition to build up your confidence. Keep it simple. I want you to take a mental screenshot of these sentence templates right now, because just filling in these blanks is the absolute easiest way to jump straight into the dialogue. Something like, I'm supporting France because their attack is so fast, or I really enjoyed the game because the atmosphere was electric. Having these simple structures locked in your memory means you won't just freeze up when someone asks for your thoughts. Oh, and a super quick note on terminology. Please do not stress over whether to call it soccer, which is, very common in North America, or football, which is used pretty much everywhere else internationally. Because the 2026 World Cup is being hosted in North America, you're definitely going to hear soccer a lot. But honestly, both are perfectly understood in casual conversations, so just use whichever one feels most natural to you. Always remember this. Telling someone, hey, I don't really follow this sport all year, but I just love the excitement of the tournament, is so much better and, frankly, way more endearing than pretending to be some hardcore tactical expert. Good English conversation isn't about using the biggest, most difficult words. It's just about sharing your ideas clearly, naturally, and most importantly, honestly. So, now it is finally time to put your brand new playbook into action. I want you to use the vocabulary and the sentence templates we learned today to answer this final question. Which team are you supporting in the 2026 World Cup and why? Will you support a super well-organized team, a really fast attacking one? Or maybe you're betting on an unpredictable dark horse? Craft your answer, get out there, and start your very first great conversation. And most of all, enjoy the beautiful game.